The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The nationwide positivity rate in the Philippines has jumped to 9.6%, while new COVID infections have gone up to 2,000 per day. That is the highest in almost 5 months. To help us make sense of these numbers, we have infectious diseases expert Dr. Ronjean Solante joining us over the phone. Good afternoon and welcome back again, Dr. Solante. Is this the start of a new surge or is this already a weak surge? And how concerned should we be at this point?
Hi, Sean. Good afternoon. So I think we now have the uptake of the cases is brought about by the subvariant, the more transmissible subvariant. And we expect that cases will be higher in the next few days or even 2 to 3 weeks from this week.
All right. So while the DOH and you also, of course, concur with the increasing presence of these Omicron subvariants, what should the government do? Should they enforce stricter border controls? Should the alert level be increased? How can we effectively address this threat?
With the ongoing, possibly community transmission already of the subvariant, then I think it's useless doing a border control. What's important now is to enhance our booster vaccination because that's the important part here, building population immunity. Even with the threat of increased cases, then we will be protecting our people not to develop severe cases and thus decrease number of hospitalized, number of cases.
All right, since we're already talking about increasing booster shots, Dr. Solante, what should the government do to ramp up inoculations? You know, a few weeks ago, you've been reporting that there is kind of a slower uptake in booster vaccinations recently. Should they, encourage more people across all, classifications, sectors, and age groups to get their boosters?
I think this is the time, Sean, that the government should consider mandatory vaccination. In other countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam, they have higher boosted population than us, more than 50%, while our boosted population is still less than 20%. And that's, I think, for us to really put up the wall of immunity, less severe cases, we need more people to be boosted, and if there's a need to really make it mandatory, then I will fully support for that.
All right, just to clarify, Dr. Solante, by making it mandatory, do you mean changing the definition of fully vaccinated to include the 2 primary doses and the booster shot, so a total of 3 vaccinations, to be considered as fully vaccinated, for example, to go to public places, to enter malls, to eat out in restaurants, and so on?
Yes, it's important that we need to increase our boosted population. Even if you receive the primary vaccine series, it may not be enough to protect us against these new variants that are highly transmissible. So we need to have that booster in order for us to move on. And if there is a plan to relax, especially the mask mandate, one of the important metrics there is 70% vaccination boosted will be a good target.
All right, let's move over now to hospitalizations. Hospital groups are saying that they can still manage cases or admissions despite the uptick in cases. Are you in agreement with this? Do you see the same thing on the ground?
Well, our hospital system, in terms of occupancy for COVID cases, are still not overwhelmed. I say we are stable. So we have a very good low hospital utilization rate even with the increasing number of cases.
All right, going back to what you said about having to hit about 70% of the population with booster shots before we can even think about relaxing mask mandates. Recently President Bongbong Marcos mentioned in a speech that we could soon do away with alert levels and, of course, relaxing the mask mandate. Are there any signals that we are ready for that here in the Philippines?
Well, as long as people are not in the hospital, meaning the hospital utilization rate is low, and despite the increase in the cases, I think this is there's already an element that we are into endemicity of this particular infection. But again, we should not be complacent. The health protocol should stay. Mask indoors should still be very important. And we still encourage people to be very careful, especially with interaction and crowd and gatherings. And again, more importantly, we need to increase our boosted population.
All right, so just to clarify what you just said, Dr. Salante, we are in track in terms of transitioning into a COVID endemic stage?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you so much for your time. As usual, infectious diseases expert Dr. Ronjean Solante joining us over the phone. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
One News Now, we'll be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. PBA Commissioner Willie Marcial is set to meet with basketball officials from Japan and Korea to iron out the recruitment process for Filipino players. In an interview with Agenda, Marcial said that they have asked the Japan and Korean basketball leagues to inform them first before directly recruiting Filipino players. Marcial will be flying to Japan in September to discuss the matter further. Several Pinoy cagers have started playing in the Japanese B.League since 2020, following in the footsteps of 30 Ravenna, who signed with the San N Neo Phoenix. Meanwhile, S.J. Belangel is the first Pinoy to play in the Korean Basketball League.
Pag-uusapan namin kung paano ayusin yung mga programa at yung mga recruitment po nila. Kausap ko po yung kanilang chairman, sinabi ko na magkaroon kami ng masinsinan na usapan kung paano po magpalitan ng mga players, paano pong proseso.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. PHIVOLCS has lowered the alert level status of the Taal volcano. The agency says Taal is now under alert level 1 or low level unrest after a decline in volcanic activity in the past days. Two low-pressure areas and an enhanced southwest monsoon or habagat are expected to bring more rains to parts of the country in the next few days. Pag-asa says the Bicol region and the Visayas should expect rainy weather until Wednesday. Oil companies have announced a big-time price rollback effective tomorrow, Tuesday, July 12. Prices of diesel and kerosene will be going down by over 6 pesos per liter, while gasoline prices will be cheaper by 5 pesos and 70 centavos a liter. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Create a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.